Welcome to the 5:30 p.m. February 14th, 2023 CRA meeting. We do have a quorum, so I'll call this meeting to order. Would you please join me in a moment of silence? And the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, would you please read the rules to speak?
Yes, individuals wishing to speak on agenda items must complete a sign-up card prior to the item being introduced. Sign-up cards are available on the table in the council chamber. Individuals wishing to speak on non-agenda items may do so under petitions and requests from the public present. No sign-up card is required. Citizens will be given 3 minutes to speak on all agenda items. All sign-up cards and exhibits being submitted to City Council shall be placed in the box on the table in the council chamber.
Thank you very much. Can I get a motion to approve the CRA minutes of January 10th, 2023?
So moved.
Got a motion by Member Nelson.
Second.
Second by Member Stokel. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed say no. Minutes are accepted. City Manager.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, and board members. We are on item 8A, which is the FY23 Annual Road Resurfacing Project Contract Award. On November 17, 2022, the city solicited bids for the construction of paving improvements at various locations within the city of Titusville, with 602 notifications resulting in 15 plan holders. The city received 4 bids, which were opened on 5 January 2023. It's recommended that the Community Redevelopment Agency recommend that the City Council approve the award of the FY23 Annual Road Resurfacing Project to VA Paving of Cocoa, Florida, in the amount of $1,133,891.50 for the construction of paving improvements at various locations within the city of Titusville, including streets within the CRA, and authorize the mayor to execute the contract under review and approval of the city attorney and staff. Additionally, approve the associated budget amendments. The area located within the CRA has an estimated cost of $62,000 of this project.
Thank you very much. Member Stokel.
Yep. I just had a question, just because I can see the big price difference between the other bids that came in. Have we used them before, or do we have any concern that they might not do as good of a job as somebody that put in, for instance, the 1.8 million?
No, they've done our resurfacing probably 12 of the 16 years I've been here.
Okay, so we know they're good.
Yeah, they did last year's resurfacing.
Well, I'm glad that they're much cheaper too than the other ones that came in.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
I like their bid, and I like that they're very local. I appreciate that. Member Nelson.
So that's for Pine and Juliet, correct?
No, 2 blocks of Julia. Yes, 2 blocks of Julia and 1 block of Pine. The block where we put a baffle box in 2 years ago, and then the 2 sections of Julia we skipped when we did the lighting and had to change the traffic signal out to visual detection.
So I understand there was like 5-point-something miles done, proposed to be done this year, total.
Citywide? Mm-hmm. Oh, we proposed 6.6, and
Okay,
we're right at that
6.6.
target for the city.
So this bid is for 5-point-something or other? Or did I
This
read
is
it
for the whole
wrong?
amount. I have to look up the exact mileage on it, but no, this is for the entire city, so it should be at the full amount.
Okay,
I go back and
Great.
find it.
thank you.
All right, very good. Any other council comments? Call the cards, please.
1 card, Stan Johnston.
Stan Johnston, 860 Poinsett Avenue. I used to work for Mr. Cook, and before that, Mr. Vatopka on this road resurfacing, and it's a good plan. I know you don't like to hear me speak, but I am approving of this, and understand that there's a number of times I've come to speak because you do not respond to my emails, you do not respond to my phone calls and so forth. So that's going to be up at the next council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other cards?
No other cards.
Can I have a motion? Vice Mayor Robinson?
Yes, I make the motion that the FY23 Annual Road Resurfacing Project Contract Award be accepted and approved.
Second.
I have a motion from Vice Chair, a second from Member Nelson. Roll call vote.
Member Cole?
Yes.
Member Nelson?
Yes.
Chairman Diesel?
Yes.
Vice Chair Robinson?
Yes.
Member Ball?
Yes.
Member Sokol?
Yes.
And that motion passes. City Manager.
On to item 8B, which is the FY 2024 Community Redevelopment Agency proposed preliminary budget. Staff is in the process of preparing the FY 2024 CRA budget. Direction is requested from the board regarding the budget. Last year's projects involved street paving, building renovation grants, trail town amenities, bike repair stations, new banners, park benches, shade structures, funds for Spaceview Park Pier, and an update of the redevelopment plan and stormwater infrastructure improvements. Based on the preliminary revenue estimates with no change in tax increment revenues from FY23 and no carry forward funds, it's conservatively estimated that there will be approximately $1,046,182 for the FY 2024 budget year. Staff will now present a short presentation regarding the proposed CRA budget. Mr. Parrish is here to provide that presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Parrish.
Okay, so in your packet on page 218 begins the PowerPoint presentation slides. I'll just go through this briefly and just highlight the most important things for you. The budget process is starting now for this, and you'll hear more and more about this as we go through the next budget year. I think in a couple meetings from now, you'll also see the CRA report or annual report. The TIF for the city is estimated to have a revenue of plus $700,000, and from the county, more than $300,000 for a total of more than $1 million. The debt service is $118,000. On page 222 of your packet, you'll see a breakdown of the personnel operating expenses. On page 223 of your packet, you'll see a summary snapshot of the revenue, debt service, and personnel operating, and there'll be funds available for projects of more than $500,000. Page 224 of your packet, you'll see the recommended capital projects for fiscal year 2024. The building grant program of $100,000, trail town amenities, including wayfinding signage of $50,000, Spaceview Park Pier for $300,000, utilities infrastructure for $50,000, and a line item for stormwater infrastructure projects at $28,000. With that, I'll try and answer any questions you have.
Vice Mayor.
Yes, Price, could you just give us a concise definition of the debt service?
The definition of the debt service?
Yeah, what is that? You know, we see it, we kind of, but just kind of explain it to us.
The city
please.
took a loan out, or bonded the downtown projects. Downtown being, remember how we had parking at angled parking? That whole strip there was redone, and that is the debt service that we're paying on right now. The last payment is scheduled for 2030.
All right, thank you.
Good question. Member Nelson.
So, Brad, we have an item in here for Trail Town amenities. Do we need additional amenities for signage and other things? And I asked for a specific reason. I was over at the Titusville Playhouse the other day and getting shaken down by Marcia Getke, who did a very, very wonderful job. And she showed me a study from Bloomberg talking about asphalt art. And I apologize because I didn't make copies of it. But this is something that Cocoa Village is doing, Cocoa's doing, Cape Canaveral's doing. And what the report is saying, I should have made copies, was that by doing asphalt art, it is slowing down traffic. It is slowing down the amount of accidents in those areas. And God knows people go like crazy through our downtown area. So Cocoa Village actually has asphalt art in front of the theater. And then they have one other place, and I can't remember where it is. And then Cape Canaveral's looking at also doing it. The cost for doing one, according to Coco, the officials, was somewhere between $8,000 and $18,000. And I think it probably depends on, just how intricate it is. But if it's something that would slow down the traffic in the downtown area, it'd be worth it.
So we did check with the state. They won't allow us to put it on state roads.
Okay, can we do it on the side roads, so? Julia Street.
I'm not sure Julia Street's needing traffic on though, but if that's
No,
your
but if it
purpose.
slows people down because they're looking at that,
Yeah.
might be worth it.
That's up to you.
I don't know. I'm gonna pass
So
this.
that, let me interject or ask, so that is to slow people down. And I would agree, if we could do it on US 1 or some other streets, that's a problem. I'm just not sure, and this is just me saying I'm not sure about what it would do on the side streets. I mean, because Julia, we don't go too fast, but boy, if we could slow them down on US 1.
Oh, God, yeah.
No, but
Oh, yeah.
unfortunately, every time we have an idea like that, correctly as stated, it's not our US
Yeah.
1. We can't do anything with it. It's not ours.
And additionally, I don't believe it's in your plan.
I don't think so either. I agree with you. I don't think it's in our plan specifically for art in the downtown area. On the other hand, we did the wrapping of the boxes.
Right, and they look good.
So, I don't think it's so far out that it would be crazy.
I don't think so either. I think if nothing else, clearly there's an aesthetic value. And then you can
Yeah.
go from there. I was noticing those arts works on the,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, on the boxes.
There you go. That word. Are you
The
good?
boxes. Yeah, so that was my
I'm sorry.
question.
Member
Well, those
Ball.
were my two questions. Do we need additional funds for Trail Town amenities? Do we have a specific,
Well, these are just staff's recommendations.
Okay.
Some of the wayfinding signs are now needing replaced. We had a couple of them knocked down during hurricanes.
okay,
Um,
so when they come back, we'll have a little bit, let's
Further
be a little
defined.
bit fleshed out. Okay,
Thank you.
We
Member
can
Ball.
certainly take a look at that. After you
After he's
mentioned that earlier, perhaps another option for your artwork would be on Indian River Avenue, because that
That's
needs
not a bad idea.
calmed a little bit.
There's some speed issues there.
Um,
Yeah, there's some speed issues there.
kind of off of the Commons parking lot area.
oh God, going across the bridge.
The bridge estate, so.
That's a
I
good
know,
idea.
but
All right, now Member Ball.
We'll take a look at it if council or CRA wants us to take a look at it, give you the specifics about it and what can be done, yeah.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the thought and the idea, and I had not seen that. I would encourage staff to begin thinking about in a kind of a comprehensive way that in conjunction with the downtown plan update, how we can do some things like that to turn Julia Street into a festival street. I mean, it's a long-term, multiple project thing, but when there's opportunities like a repaving or something, it's worth considering for probably modest dollars. I don't know if that's the right thing to do per se or not, but I like the creative thought going into that. I had, in addition, a couple of questions. On the Space View Park Pier, the $300,000, is that, we're done with design? Do we have a design we can go build to?
Yeah, design's at 100%, so they're waiting to seal the final drawings, so they'll be ready for bidding.
Was there a construction estimate on, at the design phase?
Yeah, it was pushing 900,000, I think, a few months ago when they finalized their design.
And is that, so are we talking about parking $300,000 because it won't be enough to do it all, or to be, phasing that project, or what's the recommendation on use of the 300,000?
My assumption is with that 300,000, we should be fully funded. But until we see the bids come in, we won't know for sure that it's enough even with that extra 300,000. So if it is fully funded, it's not a project that can be phased. It's a one or done type of feature. There's not pieces of it that can be done later. The entire span gets done or none of it gets done. So I think with this 300,000, we'll have more than enough to complete the project. And then there should, whatever left over, roll back to the CRA to another project in the future.
Because
Once it's completed.
we have a completed design and we already have capital funds set aside.
Yes, sir.
So we're adding to that with this increment and hopefully it's enough to do it.
Permitting is complete.
Yeah, I think that kind of level of detail of you know, getting a full picture is going to be useful as we go along, because if I should have known that, I forgot it. So that's good to know where we're at in terms of accruing dollars to complete a project and the idea that we can do it and then, you know, maybe move on to something else in the subsequent year. The other thing I would ask for is, as we move forward on this, is to map these projects to our recently adopted master, you know, downtown redevelopment plan update. And there was a capital priorities and a sort of a capital phasing plan for went out 10 years. And I know we're just getting on the front end of it. Whether these map into that, well, I think we all were excited about that plan. So just a point, you know, as we go forward to say it'd be a good idea, I think, for all of us to see how the projects we're being asked to approve on a year-to-year basis are mapping into that overall plan. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Member Stokel.
Yep. No, I like this. My question has to do more with, I guess, staffing, and this is fine for a preliminary budget, but as we're moving forward, I guess, do we know when we'll have somebody in working full-time that could maybe go through this and see, like, is the building grant program, is that 100K good, or through their assessment, are they seeing maybe we need to put more in that? I think that would be my concern is, do we have flexibility when someone does come in and does more of the detail, seeing, hey, maybe we need to spend a little bit more on this for the direction we want to go in?
Yes, when we have that position filled, that person could dedicate more time to, instead of us just monitoring what's going on right now. Yeah, absolutely. And come back with more detail too.
Okay, and we'll still have, even though if we're given like the direction right now, we'll be able to be flexible with that. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Stokel. Member Cole?
My question is, I really like this that Member Nelson brought up. Is there any way that you think we can get a waiver from the state to put in a section of this art on down there? Because traffic does go very, very fast down Highway 1, and maybe we could put in the rationale that, you know, we need to slow the traffic down, and this would calm the traffic somewhat. So is it possible to put in some kind of, ask them for a waiver? I'm asking the question.
The state has a program for community aesthetic features, which is the city makes a request to DOT to do a non-standard signage or banners, those types of features, and they will have conditions with that proposal. So, for instance, their condition may be if you put thermoplastic on a roadway now, that section of roadway is now yours to maintain, and the carrying costs become the city's. I mean, we can reach out to them and ask those questions. What they would likely say is if we bring it to them as traffic calming, that it'll go to their safety office. They will look at it for their traffic calming programs. They do have traffic calming coming on every project. They do have a planned US 1 resurfacing on the southbound side forthcoming the next couple years. So they are mandated by statutes now to look at traffic calming and hazards. But I haven't seen them install any type of artistic feature. I think they may say that's not something that will count against they have some standards for when you do X improvement, it makes the road safer by this percentage. I don't think that they would say that an artistic feature is doing that. I think they would come back with different types of improvements.
But even if we said we would pay for it, pay for the art, not buying the road, but I mean pay for the art. Mr. Mayor, really like to just investigate it and just have staff come back to us and
I'd like to
give
see
us-
staff investigate it, but I also want to make sure if we do something, they don't say, now it's your road.
Right, no, I agree,
You know,
yes.
and I would also say that there could be the term coming back to us. Don't understand me. Let me just say, I agree. We can certainly ask staff to inquire and go from there, but, as much as the art might slow you down, they could also call it a distraction. You know, and now you're looking at the art and you're not looking at the car in front of you, that sort of thing. I've seen that too. So that gets to be a situation. Brad or city manager, what would you advise, or Kevin, do we need to just have you guys just, somebody make a call or something?
What I was asking Brad initially is, the starting point isn't your plan. Because if it's not in your plan, you can't spend a dollar anyway. So you could do the research and find out, only to find out you can't spend the money. So I was asking Brad to be
That's a
important.
good point.
It'd be important to look at the plan and see, is there something in the plan that allows you to do it first? And if so, then you certainly could give direction to staff to
Yeah,
research.
that's a good point. We probably need to focus on just getting the budget passed and make some adjustments as we go after that.
I can tell you a little about what the plan says, what we found. It doesn't have a line item or anything specifically that says asphalt art, but there is a section here called Vibrant Community Initiative and items completed and items to do. And some of them, it says, in addition to traffic box art ramps, building murals by private parties, support the arts. I don't know if that's broad enough to say that this kind of art can be something that you can consider,
Sure.
but
now-
it's not a line item.
Yeah, in
specific.
my opinion, asphalt art would not have to be that specific in your plan. Your plan's getting more general. The question is whether you consider that to be a portion of the arts and covered by that.
Vice Mayor?
Yes, yes. I think some of this is downtown Orlando as well. I've seen over there. One of the things we have to keep in mind that US 1 or Washington and Hopkins are major thoroughfares. And, the Cocoa, where this is in downtown Cocoa, the traffic is already slow. Just by,
Absolutely.
it's already going slow, and it slows people down a little bit more because of that. So we have to keep that in mind. US 1, Hopkins and Washington, downtown Titusville is unique in its location, and because that's where all of the traffic to US 1 going from here to Jacksonville. If you pass and take US 1, that's the way that you're going to go. And so if we have to keep that in mind and paint it in all of those distractions, to paint some side road in front of the theater or something like that as that grows would be beautiful. But US 1, if it was rerouted somewhere else, that would be a totally different thing. So we have to keep the difference between Cocoa and over on the beach side and the traffic that's already going slow. It just makes it a little bit slower, and you don't have the hazards that the mayor just mentioned in that particular process. That's my thoughts on it.
Member Ball?
So I think we're talking about two things here, and they intersect at times. It's art in public places, and the idea that in a variety of different ways you can bring art into the public infrastructure to enhance the experiences in a performing arts district, that sort of thing. But with respect specifically to the idea of calming and slowing traffic, I just want to remind everybody, and your point's really well taken, Member Cole, that we prioritized improving the safety, pedestrian safety and traffic safety in the downtown. It's if not a discrete element in the plan, it certainly is addressed as a priority issue to find ways to slow down the traffic, because we all talked about it. So there may be other things that are worthy of consideration going into the budget plan at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later, that would either raise pavements or do things that would be done in partnership with, or at least in coordination with FDOT, for the purpose of
meeting a goal of having zero fatalities. Now, we know that hasn't happened. You know, we've had fatalities in that area of the downtown. And, you know, we keep wrestling at and tugging at strings of how to improve the infrastructure to reduce that. This was an idea. But there's a broader set of potential solutions that if it requires some set aside of funding to match or to get FDOT willing to help us to do that, accomplish that goal, then we should be looking at that in the budget process, in my opinion.
Thank you very much. Long before I got here, and probably when you were here your first time, that's a problem. I mean, we want to have a village down there, kind of like a cocoa village, but as noted, and we've all said it, they're all side roads. I was just down there for 4 or 5 months doing my St. Mark's principalship, and it was so much a pleasure to drive through there, in and out every day. But every time I did it, I'm like, well, you can't compare this to our downtown. Because the next thing you do is you get on US 1 and head north to Titusville. Well, that's US 1 is what runs through our downtown. So it is very different. It's a real conflict. It's very odd to have a major US road running through what would be a Titus Village. So that being said, it's not going to be easy. Anything we can do to slow it down, and then get people to pay attention and slow down. Anybody else have any comments on that? Cards, please.
1 card, Stan Johnston.
Stan,
No, go ahead. I thought your hand is, I'm waiting for something to
okay,
come our way.
what I handed her was this, and I've sent this to you by email, all of you by email, so you already have it. And it has to do with the drafts of petitions to Titusville. And this does very much affects CRA budget because it has to do with false reports. And so this is of interest to your budgeting because it has to do with a number of things that are very disruptive to city government. And that has to do with what I said, false reports. And we have a very spectacular false report, and that is the one about the sewage spills that are occurring in the city of Titusville. Numerous, again and again and again, and they're false reports. We got photos, we got witnesses and everything else, and yet the city denies them. And they're not in your preliminary budget. I don't expect them to show up in your preliminary budget because the city denies them. The thing is false reports are a felony. They're a felony. And not only is your city manager and your water resources department, but you guys have approved these false reports. Not necessarily Mr. Ball, but the rest of these people here. And the thing is, I think that you should be looking into this. This is a money issue. This certainly involves your risk management and so forth, but these are definitely false reports. I got plenty of good citizens who say that they're false reports and plenty of photos, and the city doesn't respond to phone calls, emails, and so forth. So I don't have a lot of sympathy for you. I see that you're just fools and not too bright on this issue, minions, hypocrites, whatever, because when we have sewage spills and everybody sees them, and you deny them, it's pretty bad. It's really bad. So that's what's happening in the city of Titusville, and I think you know about it. I've shown all pictures and so forth, and it should be something that should be reflected on everything you do, including your budgeting, everything that you do, because you guys are at risk. And I don't have sympathy for you because, just things like do unto others as you would have to do unto you. I don't think you want your children sprayed with sewage and so forth like that. And yet, Mrs. Nelson, she gave me an answer saying, hey, somebody in DEP said it's okay to go ahead and leave the fountains on. And we got all kinds of people complaining about vomiting and diarrhea And yet, who cares? So I'll let y'all deal with it, and I hope that someday maybe your disruption of your sleep will tell you something's going on. Look in the mirror. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other council, any other cards?
No other cards.
Member Nelson?
I was just going to add, just for keep things lively, there is an asphalt art initiative, and a study. They did a study on the effects of this artwork on drivers and pedestrians. So I think that will answer some of the
I've heard of it
questions.
before, so
Yeah.
I'm a novice. I don't.
So I'll give this to Brad. It's all yours.
Right now, we'll just work on this, but the feedback on that would be good. I don't know anything about that. Again, aesthetically, it's got to be a positive. All right, with that, no more cards, correct? Yeah. Okay, so let me have a motion on that, please.
I'll make the motion. I'll move it.
All right, go ahead. That's the hard part.
Oh. Provide directions to staff regarding FY 2024 Community Redevelopment Agency budget. I move that.
Do we need a motion on that?
Well, we need a motion to.
We're not accepting it. We're just providing direction.
Right, just want to make sure staff is clear on that direction.
Okay.
And so when we normally give direction, there's normally a vote. Do we need because the direction that I have is the budget stands clear. And I certainly miss Member Stokoe. Member Nelson has added something to that. If we want to do that, do we need to move on that?
Sure. The motion could be that to accept the preliminary budget with the modifications that were suggested by City Council or by CRA.
That.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. With it being an advisement, all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? The advisement carries. City Manager?
Your next is petitions and requests from the
Petitions and
public.
requests from the public, please. Yeah, didn't used to be like that. Now I sit in my meeting. Do I need a motion on that?
I'm not going to take everything out here.
You know, used to.
Stan Johnson, 860 Poinsett Avenue. And you've seen this before, and I'm going to show it to you again. This is posters about that's going nationwide. It's nationwide. It's going to the U.S. Supreme Court, not just Florida Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court, across the green. And we have a petition. I'll read the petition to you. It reads as follows. This is it. This is it. This is the petition. Got some signatures on there. It says, please support this petition to free Crosley Green, an innocent man unfairly, unjustly convicted of murder who already served 32 years in prison and also on death row for 19 years due to our state attorney's illegal withholding of much critical evidence and proof that Mr. Green is an innocent man. Now, if you haven't seen it, there's a news clipping of about, it was on the front page of the Florida Today about this, and there's notes and so forth that was never given to his prosecuting attorney, that police officer said, we don't think he did it. We just don't believe he did it, and never was given to the defense attorney. So I'm encouraging you to support this petition. He's a black man. Some people don't want to sign petitions with he's a black man, but he's a black man, and I've met with him a number of times, and I've been with him for the last few weeks. So please consider that. The next issue is that I'm concerned about false reports the city of Titusville is involved in, and some of them are absolutely ridiculous. It's been over a year for one of these. For example, there's a survey. How in the world can the city of Titusville or Mr. Parrish or so forth disagree with a survey that, for example, it says it says that Elizabeth Avenue is 53 feet wide, when all the documents and city surveying and documents that I even provided the city says it's 50 feet, not 53 feet. So what we have right now is we have an approved survey, been for 18 months. And we have an approved preliminary plat that's been maybe for a year. And we got a new owner who was told everything's okay. It's not okay. It's absolutely crazy. How in the world can the city of Titusville approve a right-of-way being 53 feet when I'm the one, I sold the city 20 feet of that right-of-way. I sold it to them. And now I see that the city of Titusville saying, oh, it's okay to have somebody submit a survey saying it's 53 feet wide when it's 50 feet wide. These are false reports by the city of Titusville, and they're hurting people.
Thank you, sir.
No,
Petitions
Nope.
No, sir.
All right.
Petitions, requests continued? I see none. Board, anything else?
Last item is the executive director's report. There's no action items, but it's a capital projects update for your consideration.
Anything else? Member Ball?
I have a question on the report, and that's simply on the schedule, the downtown projects FY23. Is that schedule that speaks to the Julia Street paving in part of the contract? And let me put the question in context. I see that looks like the construction and completion is in the June-July timeframe. That probably works pretty well for the theater season, but I would request that there be a coordination there if possible, whether that resurfacing slips out or just that be part of, and that may be in the contractor's contract, for working with businesses that are going to be affected and access cut off during the repaving. So they would appreciate it, and I would as well. I think all of us up here, wherever that paving is occurring for, potentially impacting businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? You good down there? I see none. We will reconvene with the council meeting at 6:30. Meeting adjourned.